I see these two people besides this person who's being very intentional, by the way. I see these two people over here kind of like in this what have I become energy. I mean, that's really how it popped out, was how did I get upside down? How did I get... First of all, I wasn't what I wanted to be to begin with. You know, I had my issues or whatever. But then someone exploited that and made things like worse to the point where now I have like more issues. And now I'm someone that I never even conceived that I could turn into or be. And I'm stuck here because I'm associated with this person, or was associated with this person who, yeah. So, if they are still stuck, even if they've shown this person the door, if they are still stuck, they're not going to be ready to come forward. They're gonna hope that you stay single. And it's a possibility too that, see, this would normally be like my player card, where they're kind of like, oh, they're a player, but this kind of tells me that they're afraid that you're gonna hook up with the wrong person and they're gonna hurt you. That they already know they don't necessarily know what they have to do to heal, but they kind of know how messed up they are. So they don't want somebody to mess you up more, so that, you know, because they already know they have to deal with themselves and they don't want to have to deal with that for you too. Yeah. So they, I think, are deciding to watch you. Wow. When I made that card, I didn't consider it to be like a watching card or a stalking card. I mean, it does say observer, admirer, so maybe more of a, you know, on a calmer sort of, like I said, observing nature. Yeah, they can't step forward, and they can't like walk away. So they're going to wait. Get one more card. Yeah, okay. So this card for me, this was on the bottom of the deck. This card for me is like, I've decided what I want, or I'm deciding what I want. Like when after the pause, which it's here, right? Let's see. Yes. I want to know what love is. So these cards, some of these cards are like kind of like a progression, and then this is the no contact deck. So I started out with just the regular song deck, and so some of these cards are actually meant to like mirror each other as well. They're just like a prototype. I just need like card numbers, but the card numbers might mirror each other too. So I haven't worked on it yet, but this pause card was meant to be before this card, which was the I've decided what I want, or I'm deciding what I want card. You know, now that I understand, it's almost like a manifestation card, because it's kind of like, now that I know what I want, I can wish for it coming like one of these nights. Okay. So, again, it's not this like I'm stuck energy. Because I feel like if we were truly stuck, we wouldn't be asking someone to wait, no matter how stupid we are. I think that we would know that that's not going to work out. But I also think that they know that they can't do this forever, and that they still have this. Like I was almost knocking on their door. So, you know, the missing you and the how am I supposed to live without you, and then recognizing your worth and your beauty, it's getting hard for them to kind of stay away. But they do feel like they do need work. They have some work to do before they can get here, and there could be some interference involved. So, it's still kind of giving off a little bit of a no contact vibe. Somebody may have been contacting you, may have been like in a like a scuffle with someone for a while, and then they sort of like dipped out for a while, and so this is the energy that everybody's kind of sitting in. It's a possibility that something similar happened on someone's way out the door. So there was conflict, but maybe you were already gone, but they had to deal with all this stuff afterwards. And so maybe you do or don't know about it, kind of a thing. It's not extremely clear, which kind of tells me that, before I did this reading, I kind of asked the question, like, isn't there a huge collection of males that is like stuck somewhere? Can we like pick up that energy? And it's like, interestingly enough, like, I feel like this is a complex enough situation with enough people involved to where this could be related to a lot of people. And especially now in this energy where people kind of want to do better for themselves. And it's almost not like because they want to be better people. It's almost more like they're just tired of the bullshit. Like they just can't deal with it anymore. It's getting to the point where it's getting to be too much. Like I said, they can't keep doing whatever it was that they're doing. So at some point they have to look at either what they've been doing or what someone else has been doing, or like I said, how they got there or how they got to be that person. Because people who truly want to get out of stuff, they have to figure that out. Because if they don't figure that out, that's part of healing. If they don't figure that out, then they can't figure out how to not get themselves back into that same situation later. You could be with this person in a situation and they can know your worth and everything, and they could allow somebody to come in and mess things up because they're not strong enough yet with the strength card upside down to understand how relationships are supposed to be, or that they're supposed to protect you from that. So if people are smart enough to know that and to know that they need to keep their drama away from you, then this is something that we need to allow to happen, even if it doesn't seem like it's on our timeline. And unfortunately, I don't see a timeline on the table, but I will say that a lot of times I learned a lot about divine timing. That deck's going to take a lot longer to make, but yeah, here we go again with somebody who doesn't want me to speak. But divine timing has a lot to do with what you are putting into the equation. So for instance, this person, we'll even say it's a couple people. So let's just say in your situation, there's actually a couple people, but a couple people aren't ready to step forward. That's why you're still alone, right? Because they're in this some variation of this type of, situation, these cards that are on the table, right? Maybe they're not all of them. Maybe there's some of them. Maybe they're half of them. Maybe somehow the energy matches in some kind of weird way. It's the same thing, right? And they're sitting there. So if they're kind of like desperate in their creating, then the more they pile onto the situation, the longer it's going to take, because they are emotionally invested in it. The universe doesn't necessarily work that way. If they're in a situation where they're like, well, I'm just not ready and everybody needs to wait, and they kind of think that they just need to wait, they could be stuck in this energy of waiting. Whereas when you're waiting and you're just waiting, the energy, the universe doesn't bring anything to you because you have chosen to wait. So someone could be on the other end thinking they're healing or waiting to heal, or, even healed maybe, and kind of been like, okay, when is the magic show going to start? And they don't realize that the thing that they're waiting for is waiting for them. This is a possibility as well. Because like I said, when you put divine timing into things, then you don't always have control. You have control in the way you're putting it into divine timing, but you don't have any control into the way that you're playing it out. In other words, you're in that waiting energy. You can't say, well, I'm just going to wait for 3 months. It could be 3 years. It could be 3 decades. If you're sitting in that energy, then you're just sitting in that energy. That's what the universe expects you to do. And some of this other energy as well, again, this is kind of like almost like a waiting energy. Like I'm watching you, so I'm getting something out of this because I'm affirmed in the fact that maybe you're not dating, or if you are dating, I don't think it's going to last, or whatever it is that's helping me to sit back and watch this situation unfold without me. And I could be stuck in this stalking energy because I'm afraid to come forward or something else. Or maybe I think that when you acknowledge me, I'll be happier. Meanwhile, you don't even know what's going on because you're not even in contact. And, they're like in this, well, when this happens, I'll be happy energy, which again is not the way you create. You have to be happy like that person is there, and then it will happen for you. You don't have to do a lot of magician stuff to get out of things. You just have to want to get out of them long enough to build that momentum for the universe to just sort of lift you out. most of the time. I'm not saying that when you're in a bad situation or like in a bad relationship that the universe will just break you up. I mean, it could, but you might not notice that that's what it's doing. Especially if you're fighting for that relationship to continue, you won't see that, oh my gosh, we shouldn't be together. It's too hard. So again, that could be delaying things too. When you keep not learning the lesson over and over again, that's this card right here. Not getting the lesson, making dumb mistakes, causing problems. So when you're stuck in that divine timing wheel, it just keeps spinning for that same reason. Like it's just literally spinning until you decide to get off the stupid wheel. That circus vibe. So there's a lot of things that are playing into that depending on what this person's mindset is. If you're picking up their energy, contact or no contact, involved, then I don't even think I would engage with this person energetically right now, because they could be in so many different places. I feel like if they're in this right now and they want to talk, they should have a conversation with you. And you should decide whether or not it's worth it to you to mix your energy with where this person is right now. And having said that, I don't think it's necessarily wise to send them energy either or protect them. We've said this before, like sometimes you guys want to, protect somebody and, but then it causes them to be more comfortable in their situation. It may take them longer to get to you. So, lending someone an ear would probably be better, if they can, even if they could explain what they've learned and what they've been through, they might still have some healing to do, to a point where you may not want to consider having a relationship with them until that healing is done. Because again, there could be situations that you have to come into that you may be willing to deal with, but that later on it will change your relationship in a way that that you're not necessarily wanting it to go. And that's if that really is allowed to happen at all. In some cases, if you're not matched, you're not matched. I think sometimes when we're in contact with people, but we're not 100% vibing, we're not in a relationship, I feel like it's because we're balanced. So like even especially as twin flames, I think when we're in contact and we're kind of, I want to call it fighting. Like when someone's not conforming to what the other person, when there's a runner chaser situation, let's put it that way. I feel like we're balanced, but we're not balanced in the right way. So I feel like the only reason why we're kind of being pulled together in a way is because there is some kind of balance going on, but it's not the balance that we want. It's either like a balance between, someone's bad traits and good traits. And, maybe there's a mixture of both within the two of them. And so it creates some kind of weird energetic balance. But I think ultimately it causes that magnet situation where they're repulsed from each other, because it's not the balance that you need to have a healthy, wholesome relationship. And the universe is just going to pick up that energy and it's just going to do what magnets do. And so that's why sometimes we're not in contact, and that's why sometimes we're not talking, or even when we are talking, we can't get along enough to have a relationship, because we're in that magnet state, because we haven't healed from what we need to be. And it could be you too. So keep that in mind before you decide to, mingle with this energy. And you might want to decide, if you are in no contact and you kind of know this to be true, but you haven't been contacted yet, you might want to decide now how you're going to respond. Because once you're under the gun, it's going to be a little bit harder to say no to somebody, especially somebody who is really, what's the word I'm going to use? Truthful was the word that came to my mind, but I wanted to use sincerity, especially someone who's coming through with more sincerity on their feelings for you. I would watch how you let them approach or how you connect with them, because you still might get a little bit of this in something you decide to start with someone. You keep that in mind. Until next time.